This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, where we discuss all the news in the world of sports. As always, my name is Ben.
And I'm Anthony.
Back here on a Friday. It is Masters weekend, although, Anthony, I couldn't really care less.
Here's the thing.
We'll talk about it in the first segment, the Masters.
Is that because of Tiger, to where you're not into it as much?
It's not just Tiger. It's just, golf period. I feel like... we'll update you the first day leaderboard, right. And
yeah.
I feel like just golf period, there's no stars in it. Everybody's just, there's obviously world rankings that are different, and everybody's a little better than the other person, but I feel like, and I said this for a while, I said on the show a million times, but I feel like you could just put like golfers 1 through 100's names in a hat and like pull it out, and that's who's going to win. Like there's nobody I know is going to be in contention on Saturday and Sunday like I did when Tiger was there, and maybe Phil Mickelson, but back in his day when Phil was there, like there's no one I know is for sure going to just be there. Yeah,
like there's like top elite guys like Jordan Spieth or whatever, but like there's no guarantee that like, when you look up in the fourth round, it's like, oh, okay, cool. So it's going to be 1's Jordan Spieth, 2's Phil Mickelson, 3's like Rory McIlroy. Like there's no guarantee whatsoever. And like I like golf, and I get that the Masters is kind of like their Super Bowl kind of thing. That's like their number one kind of thing. But yeah, man, since Tiger was not in there, I don't care as much. Like I'm just kind of like, oh, Phil, he win? Oh, cool, good for Phil.
And the Masters is like, I don't know what you want to call it, the Super Bowl of golf, or the one tournament. If you could win, you'd want to win it. So
right,
I get all that and everything, but I'm just like, I'm not really into it that much. I'd much rather look at some baseball games today or anything. But
right,
of course, golf. It is the Masters. There's actually a couple of interesting storylines I want to get to. So we'll get to the leaderboard first. So your opening day leader, your clubhouse leader is Charlie Hoffman. He shot a 65, 7 under par yesterday. Very, very good round. The course at Augusta National right now, it's almost like British Open-esque because the weather is horrific.
Yeah.
It's like they had wind gusts of like 40 miles per hour yesterday. They're expecting them of like 20 to 30 today. So not as bad, but still really, really tough. Which normally you don't see at Augusta. You might see it get rained out a day or two, but not necessarily the wind really howling like that as it is in Georgia right now.
Yeah.
So for Hoffman to do what he did yesterday in those conditions, because he was on the course right in the thick of it, that's really, really impressive. So it's good to see that he is obviously on top. And second place, you have William McGirt, who right now is through 10 holes. He's 1 under par for the day, so he's 4 under in general. He was 3 under yesterday. He was in second place at the end of day 1. So Hoffman with a 4-shot lead going into today. Right now it's at 3 currently. 4-shot lead, pretty good. But if history would tell us one thing, Anthony, it's that chances of him winning, being the leader after day 1, not so great. Of the last 32 Masters, 2 people have won when they either had the lead or a share of the lead at the end of the first round. That was Trevor Immelman in 2008 and Jordan Spieth when he led literally start to finish a few years ago. So history's not going to tell us much for Charlie Hoffman.
Yeah, the thing is, you look at Charlie Hoffman, congratulations for you, you're -7. Like, that's really great to get you on the map. People saying, like, oh, look, Hoffman, but I just look at the people that's, like, right under him who before, right now, when McGirt got a, birdie, so he's -4. You kind of look at right there, and you got like Phil Mickelson, who's -1, so he's like right in contention. Because I'll just be honest and just care about the people that I know and hope they win. So Phil, he's 3 out right now, 2 out. When the day started, okay, so he at least has a decent enough shot of actually being in contention and winning this thing. McIlroy's even, so like I guess he's in contention too. But yeah, I always thought about this, like, golf kind of has your like purists and whatever, and people that just like love golf, but like you got to, like, think the people that, like, put this event on are kind of just hoping, like, okay, Phil, just stay somewhere on the top. Just stay somewhere up top. Otherwise, the ratings are going to be so bad in the weekend. Like, yeah, maybe you'll watch in the first 2 rounds because you don't know what's going to happen. But after they, figure everything out and people make or miss the cut, you got to think they're like, okay, how many of these people that are in contention do we actually know of? Because, like, you can only try and make up the storylines, kind of like March Madness-y, kind of like you can only do these, like, heartwarming stories for so long before people are just like, yeah, I'm out.
I'm hoping for Phil. I mean, I guess you can say he's like the last breed of like the Tiger generation that's around still.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for Phil. And like you said, he's in contention. He's 6 back right now, but Hoffman had a great round yesterday. He's gonna. You got to think he's.
I'm thinking by the end of today he's probably going to be like -3. It's going to be like, oh, okay, cool, everything's back to even.
You got to think he's going to come back. He had a fantastic round. He's actually had a good start to the PGA season. He's got a 2nd place finish and a 4th place finish, so he's done pretty well so far. But you got to imagine played phenomenal yesterday. He's going to at least come back a little bit because a course like Augusta is one of those courses where you might do great one round, and the next round it's like. I feel like I'm playing on a totally different course because I don't know what happened, but I'm doing terribly now.
Right.
And I realize you have pin selection that's, differentiate some things, but not necessarily everything. So you look at some notables. You mentioned Mickelson at 1 under. You have Sergio Garcia as well at 1 under. You do have Jason Day at 2 over. You have Jordan Spieth, who seems to have dominated this tournament, really struggling right now. He's tied for 36 at 3 over through 1 round. He'll tee off a little later, so hopefully Jordan can get it going in the 2nd round. But one guy you're not going to notice that is in the field, and that is Dustin Johnson.
Yeah.
So on Wednesday, you'll remember that Dustin Johnson, we had some storylines come out from him about him falling down the stairs, of all things, a day before the start of the Masters, and not knowing whether or not he's going to play simply because the guy got banged up. The dude fell down the stairs. His elbow was all swollen and bruised up, and then primarily he had issues with his back. So then you had reports come out yesterday morning about how he was going to maybe go out and test it out, test the waters out, which nothing wrong with that. Like an NBA player going out in warm-ups or NFL doing some running and everything. So not really surprised that he decided to do that. So he goes out on the basically the driving range, takes a couple of shots, realizes I could maybe power through this, but am I going to get through all 18 holes pain-free? He's like, I don't think I am. So he withdraws right at the start of the tournament, looking at the number or the first hole and okay, I think I'm done. And remember, Dustin Johnson is the world's number 1 after all. Mm-hmm. But here's where we have some talking points. Obviously, it's golf, it's the Masters, it's really big. You can bet on this sort of thing.
Right.
Dustin Johnson being the world number 1, definitely one of the favorites to win the whole thing. If you had made a bet on Dustin Johnson, you might want to look at where you made that bet with. Because some sports books in Las Vegas are giving you refunds because he did not officially participate. Mm-hmm. He withdrew ahead of time. But not all of them are. So you're looking at Westgate, South Point, Wynn, the Golden Nugget, and the Station Casinos. They are refunding money because he did not play. But others, including the MGM, Boyd Gaming, Caesars, CG Tech, and William Hill, which is the largest Nevada sportsbook in terms of numbers, told people that they were not going to allow refunds on Dustin Johnson bets to win the Masters. Since he did not officially play, shouldn't they refund money? That's like... I've watched a lot of horse racing in my day. My dad and brother are big in it, so I will tag along with them at times, and I'll not follow it, but pay attention to it.
Right.
If a horse gets scratched up to the starting gate, you get a refund for it because the horse officially did not run. How is this any different?
Yeah, I don't think it's that much different. It's I guess just Vegas's prerogative, depending on the casino. They're just kind of just like, you made a bet, good for you, our money now, kind of thing. And
as if they needed it.
Right, but that's have fun telling Vegas not to try and get more money from you. The thing is, I don't know, okay, so we knew from Wednesday, right, that Johnson, even if he did play, he probably would be hobbled a little bit because...
Yeah, if I was a bettor, I would have tried to get my money back then. Because it's it would be a great story, but it's he's got a terrible back injury, he's going to win the Masters, probably not.
Right, it's not like you have a messed up, it's not like if you have a messed up thumb or something like that, right? You can still swing and stuff like that. Yeah, it'll be a little crooked or whatever, but you can still do it. the back matters really a lot in terms of golf. Like, maybe not as much as your shoulder, I guess, because you use momentum with that. But, like, the back is one of probably the most important things when actually playing golf. So the fact that he even had a little bit of, like, a problem, and it's not the first time Dustin Johnson's had, like, a back problem. So with that, you probably hear that and it's just like, yeah, I don't want to bet on him. Yeah, I get he's the number one golfer in the world. But, I mean, isn't this also the reason why Tiger's always kind of been out of contention? It's because of his back. His back always messes up. Like,
that's why he's not even playing in this tournament.
Right. So, I mean, I would think you would refund the money just because there's extenuating circumstances of, like, cool, like, he never actually competed. Like, it's not like he got through one round and decided to bow out. It's like, no, he literally was just like, never mind. Like, I don't want to do this. You know, I'm taking this, you know, I'm going home because this is, like, I couldn't get through 18 holes in one round. I'm not going to be able to do it at least 2 rounds, maybe even 4. Like, my back's not going to hold up for that. So, yeah, like, I don't understand why some of the sports books and everything in Vegas are just basically like, well, nope, congratulations for giving us your money, and cool, we'll see you again.
It's just weird because you're looking at, like, a story. Like, for instance, here's this. So the sports book at Wynn, it's giving people money back for the Dustin Johnson injury situation.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you bet on the Kentucky Derby and that horse is not running the race, they're not refunding you money for it. So it's like a double standard. It's like literally the exact same thing. One's a horse and one's a golfer. One's getting money back and one's not. It just doesn't make much sense. But anyways, I mean, I wouldn't have bet on golf anyway. You're betting one against the whole entire field of how many people? I mean, you're looking at like over 100.
And that one isn't Tiger Woods in his prime.
Exactly. When you're looking at horses, you're looking at one out of like maybe 15 or 20. Not great odds, but a lot better than what you're looking at here. So
yeah.
I'd much rather bet that than I would golf. But nevertheless, it is day 2 of the Masters. Interesting to see what happens, see if Charlie Hoffman can hold on. We'll always talk about it on Monday as well. We'll take our first break here at the Golden State Media Concept Sports Podcast. After the break, a couple of guys declare for the NBA draft. We have KD returning tomorrow against the Pelicans. And tonight, Russell Westbrook goes for history against the Suns. And the stats will tell you that he's a shoo-in to get it. We'll talk about all that next at the GSMC Sports Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Couple more guys declaring for the NBA draft this upcoming summer. From Kentucky, sophomore guard Isaiah Briscoe. He has declared for the draft. In his 2 seasons at Kentucky, he averaged 12 points, 5 rebounds, and about 4 assists. I personally thought that Briscoe should have come back. Obviously, a lot of headlines coming this season by their freshman guards, De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk. Sorry, got it mixed up there. Having great seasons. So Briscoe kind of came off the bench and was a little out of the limelight this season. I thought if he came back for his junior year, he could have really excelled. Plus, he's going to hire an agent, expect to be a second-round pick, which there's been second-round picks that have made it in the NBA, but you're looking at a second-round pick, a guy you're probably not going to have on your roster. So
right.
Tough to say, but I mean, it is Kentucky. If you graduate from Kentucky, then something's wrong with you.
Right.
Because
basically,
if you're not gone after 2 years, then
yeah, like, I'm trying to think of people that actually have gone to Kentucky, recently Kentucky, not like, you know, back when, like, you know, people like Antoine Walker were playing, but like, yeah, like, if you basically stay in Kentucky for more than 2 years, like, you don't generally become a player in the NBA. Like, even people that weren't, like, regular starters, like someone like a Devin Booker even left, you know.
He left as a freshman.
He left early, and, I mean, now obviously looks like a great decision, but it took him, like, a second to, you know, even get to being what he is now. And, yeah, where there was, like, Willie Cauley-Stein, but I think
he's really the only one. Like,
but he got injured, I think, didn't he? Like,
Kentucky's my team, so I follow them. Cauley-Stein left after a junior.
Mm-hmm.
That was the season that they were unbeaten until they lost to Wisconsin in the Final Four.
Right.
So he left as a junior, and I don't know if he was injured. I don't think he was injured, but he didn't really like.
One of them was maybe it was Poitras. Maybe Poitras was
Poitras graduated. He was injured forever.
Yeah, he might have been the one I'm thinking of.
But Cauley-Stein just didn't really kind of like burst onto the scene until his junior year when he was next to Karl Anthony Towns.
Right.
And obviously they were. I mean, I would still take that team to dominate. They just had one bad game against a good Wisconsin team with Kaminsky and Sam Decker.
Right. I mean, they've had a couple of things, but they've had a couple of players, like you said, Willie Cauley-Stein and Karl Anthony Towns. You had Boogie and John Wall. You had Anthony Davis and Kid Gilchrist. You've had a couple of those teams.
Think about that. Imagine if you had to stay like all 4 years.
Right.
Kentucky would win the tournament every single season.
Well, they also wouldn't get those players, though, I don't think. Like you're
right about that.
He gets it because one of his thing is just basically like.
But like, imagine John Wall, Eric Bledsoe, and DeMarcus Cousins having to play for 4 years.
Yeah, man.
It'd be over.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you look at the people in the NBA, and like a lot of them, like if you just took like, okay, let's just have like Kansas's best players, North Carolina's best players, people that are good right now, not like, oh, we'll take Vince Carter in his prime, even though he's playing right now. Like, you take the people who are good right now, a lot of them came from Kentucky, like you said, Wall, Boogie, Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns. Like, there's like a solid list of people that are playing in the NBA at a high level. Devin Booker, who went to Kentucky. And every year, Calipari just goes to, the top 15 prospects and just like, all right, man, like if you want to play, like, this whole like amateurism thing's kind of, I don't really agree with it. So, if you're good, 1 year.
Exactly. Kentucky has the number one recruiting class coming in already this upcoming season. Mm-hmm. But it's basically like, do you want to get to the NBA a year from now? Just sign your name on that line, and I'll make it happen.
Yeah,
that's really all you have to do.
If you're a top player, like even someone like what's his name, Scalabrine, who the Kings drafted high in the draft, like he was in the 20s, right? So it wasn't like he was like a top 5 pick
in college. I'm a Kentucky fan, so I watched him.
Yeah.
He looked like he was lost.
Yeah,
and he's playing good minutes with the Kings because they're not very good. They're trying to tank. They're playing a lot of the younger guys, and he's not doing bad. I mean, he's doing okay.
Yeah,
but he looked lost in college. Like Hiley coming out of high school gets to college, and he looked like he was playing a game he never played before. Like, it was that bad. And now he's like kind of evolving into I guess you can say a decent player. Will maybe have a okay NBA career, get another contract. So
right, and you have situations where Calipari, like I said, if you're a top player, you will go. Like the only people, like I said, Cauley-Stein, the only ones that I can think of that stayed for a little bit longer, but they're not in the pros, or at least not, playing in any reasonable stretch, are the Hernandez brothers, the
Harrison brothers, the Harrison twins, Andrew and Aaron.
And
they never evolved.
But they stayed for a bit. Like, yeah, like generally it's just like, okay, cool, you go to the NBA because like Calipari just kind of understood, like, and people have followed suit since then. Like even Coach K has basically decided, okay, cool, I'm going to get Kyrie Irving. Okay, I'm going to get Jabari Parker. Like I'm going to start taking these guys who are really good. Even this guy from Duke this year, I can't think of what his name is. It's not Luke Kennard. It's
you have Jason Tatum. Harry Giles.
Yeah, like they're taking players now.
Coach K's finally doing the one and done, which he never did.
And he's getting 2 titles in the last 5 years out of it. So I mean, like it helps. Like that part of it, if you get great talent, you can win in college basketball. Like you also can get stuff like Izzo, who basically has people stay for 4 years, but.
Kansas traditionally too.
Kansas traditionally, Carolina does it too. But yeah, like generally, if you have a good player, you would very least are getting to probably the Elite 8.
Right, and I've always said, I mean, I'm not surprised Briscoe. I am surprised Briscoe came out, given that he would be a second-round pick. Mm-hmm. But I'm also not at the same time because I've always felt like if you don't come out as like a freshman when you're big right away, if you decide to go back to school 1 year, you're only hurting yourself. It's great that you're going back to college. I'm all for that. But as far as your talent-wise, you going back means that gives other people one more year to figure out what's wrong with you. Like, prime example is this year, Ivan Rabb from Cal. Mm-hmm. He's from Oakland, so he's from Northern California, so I watched him in high school. He was phenomenal. Reminds me a lot of Chris Bosh, a big, skinny guy. Mm-hmm. Had he have come out of Cal last year, he would have been a lottery pick. This season, disappointed at Cal, going to be probably a late first-rounder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you go back to school, people figure out what's wrong with you. The same thing happened to Jared Sullinger at Ohio State. You know what I mean? Like, so I always feel like you need to go out. So I'm not surprised that Briscoe did. And another guy coming out is from Duke, actually, and that's sophomore guard Luke Kennard. Kennard did lead the team in scoring, about 19.5 points per game. Mm-hmm. He's a left-hander. He's a good shooter. He's probably going to be late first round, so a lot higher of a prospect than Briscoe is, but Duke losing a lot of guys. You have Jason Tatum already left, Harry Giles left. You're going to lose possibly Grayson Allen. Emil Jefferson did graduate as well. So
he got, the fact that him staying, Grayson Allen probably staying for another year probably hurt him.
Yeah, definitely. He really, I wouldn't say burst on the scene when they won that title as a freshman, but he was really a key part of that Final Four. Mm-hmm. And then last year kind of really bursted out, but then this year coming back, and his stock is literally plummeted with the whole tripping and the pouting, and I feel like he kind of has to graduate now.
Yeah.
There's not, great, I'll be a second rounder.
Yeah,
maybe
you might
not
as
even
well
drafted.
stay.
I might as well just stay, so.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a thing like how NFL has a quarterback thing where it's just if you stay too long, you kind of become the whole, Matt Leinart kind of thing where it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Matt Barkley did that.
Yeah, you basically, if you're a lineman or a wide receiver, I guess you can kind of hide behind the fact of the whole offensive line was, not helping you out. If you're a wide receiver, the quarterback wasn't getting you the ball. And if you can hide behind those things with a quarterback, they basically just cut into you more and more the longer you stay.
Exactly. So both those guys do come out. We'll see how they get drafted this upcoming summer in the NBA draft. Let's talk about a game upcoming tonight, which pretty much everyone's going to be looking at. Everyone's going to have their eyes on. And it's not because the Phoenix Suns are playing, because they're tanking probably as good as anybody right now. The second worst record in the league, 22 wins. They have the youngest starting five in the history of the NBA. Mm-hmm. They're playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, though. Obviously, Russell Westbrook, a couple of things he could do tonight. He needs 6 assists to average a triple-double for the entire season. And also, one more triple-double gets him to 42, which is the most all-time in a single season. Remember, the other night, he was just one rebound away from getting that. And you'll imagine, and what I'm about to tell you, will almost guarantee Russ is going to get a triple-double tonight. He is averaging 41 points, 13 rebounds, and 13 assists against the Suns this season in 3 games.
Yeah.
And the Suns are playing like me, you, and Devin Booker.
Yeah. Yeah. A starting lineup is Devin Booker and 4 of his friends.
So there's no way he does not get a triple-double tonight, right?
Right. He has to get a triple.
He's averaging 31, 13, and 13 in 3 games this season.
Well, did you see what happened the last game when he had 45, 10, and 9? The last shot.
It was almost like a disappointment. When you do that, it's we should be pretty happy. It's
he was trying to get the last rebound to get the triple-double. I forget who it was. Someone shot the ball or whatever, and it ricocheted, and it didn't get to him, but you could see him just kind of looking at the ball, where's it going, where's it going, where's it going? He was trying to get it super bad. And with this game, because one thing if you're going to go up against Memphis or San Antonio or teams that actually play defense, the Suns, no, man. They're
I've talked about it on the show, I've talked about it on the basketball show many times. I'm really, really tired of this whole tanking thing, but it's almost if you can't beat them, join them. If other teams are going to do it, you might as well do it too. The Lakers are tanking as hard as they can because their first-round pick this season is protected if it's in the top 3.
Right.
If not, they lose it to Philly.
Yeah.
So if they don't get in the top 3, they don't get a first-round pick.
Right.
And then the same thing next year as well with the Magic.
Yeah, yeah.
So the Lakers are going to be tanking this year and next year because, simply put, I need to get a pick.
Yeah, and the thing is, people always talk about the fact that it's, there's so much tanking now in the NBA. You understand that the reason why the draft lottery exists is because people were tanking back in 1984, right? When you had Akeem Olajuwon and Michael Jordan in the draft, people were trying to get them, and they were tanking back then. And then in 85, when it was Patrick Ewing, they're like, all right, look, man, we can't let you do this again. We're doing some type of system to where, if you get in the top 5, congratulations, but we're not just going to, make it, an easy path for you. We're going to have these, restrictions, this lottery, so that way, just because you have the worst record, that doesn't mean you get the number 1 overall pick. We're going to kind of mess this up for you if that's your plan. That was back in 85. So this isn't new. It's just people are more overt about it now. All of a sudden you get this update on your phone. It's oh, okay, cool. So the Kings are sitting Ty Lawson, Ben McLemore, all these people. And they're oh, well, they're not even hurt. Why are they sitting? Their back is tight or something like that. They make more of an emphasis about it now, but this has been happening for 30 years.
Right. And it is what it is. I'm not a big fan of it. Obviously, the players are trying to do everything they can, but when the GM says, okay, we're going to sit down our best player, which is not necessarily an all-star or anything, we're going to play you, and you, who we just called up from the D-League.
Yeah.
The players are trying to do what they can, but the the team has a totally different mindset. So
Yeah.
I think there's no way Russ does not get a triple-double tonight.
Oh, yeah,
It'll be great storyline. So hopefully he does, even though I've not been the biggest Westbrook fan. Hope he does accomplish that feat tonight. And then tomorrow, Kevin Durant is expected back for the Golden State Warriors. They're taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. He's been practicing. He's been doing some scrimmage games, some 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4 stuff. And he's been cleared to return by the doctors. Of course, he's missed the last 19 games since suffering a grade 2 MCL sprain in his left knee against the Wizards on February 28th. How do we think he does? You think this messed up the chemistry? The Warriors, remember, 13 in a row.
Yeah, that's the funny part. Like,
And
how do
they
you
wrapped up the top seed in the whole entire NBA.
Yeah, how do you feel if you're Kevin Durant that the team is like basically not missed a beat without you? Like, oh, that's right, this is actually how the Warriors are. They're still a really good team with or without you. No, I think he'll do fine. I don't think he's going to be great right off the bat because you can't really just like parachute into a game out of nowhere and just be like, okay, cool, let's get 35 points. Like, he's probably going to struggle for a game or two, but then he's going to realize, oh yeah, I'm Kevin Durant and I'm one of the 3 best players in the NBA. So, give it a couple of games. Basically, by the time the playoffs start, because whoever they get in the
Just
first...
get his fitness level up.
Yeah, whoever they play in the first round, whether it's Portland or Denver, whoever that 8 seed is, like they're going to win that round. So that gives them kind of more room 4 to 5 games, basically, in the first round to kind of like get your kind of stamina and, shot looking right and everything else like that. They got, like 4 more games, in the regular season. So you get about like 8 to 10 games where you can kind of just slowly creep back to being what you were. And then by the time you get to second round, we're good.
Definitely. Just get his fitness level back up, get him back into the flow of things. I'm sure it'll take a little bit of an adjustment period, honestly, because Steph's not going to take as many shots, Klay's not going to take as many shots. But, they're going to be playing probably Portland in the first round.
Right.
Got to worry about that nice backcourt. But other than that, not really much. So I think they'll be okay. I would have liked to have gotten Durant back a little sooner, maybe like a week ago, because that sort of adjustment period can get taken care of in the regular season as opposed to the first round of the playoffs. But
Sure.
I'm sure they'll be fine regardless. And then real quick, some breaking news before we take our last break. The Wichita State Shockers have been unanimously added to the Athletic Coast Conference. I'm sorry, not the Athletic Coast, the AAC, so the American Conference. So they'll be playing with like UConn, Connecticut, also like SMU. So that's good for them in a bigger conference as they try to build. They're like the best mid-major basketball program left out there. A lot of the mid-majors, like maybe like Butler, Creighton, they've obviously taken a step up into the Big East and stuff. So I guess Wichita State was that last team to really move up, and now they're doing so in the AAC. That's definitely good news for them.
Yeah, and they've, like I said, they've been one of the best teams consistently that hasn't played in like the SEC or something like that. So now the fact that they're going to be in a better conference, now they'll actually be talked about more than just like, oh, look at them, look at how they're advancing in the tournament. So that's good for them.
Definitely. And we'll take our last break, and we're going to be talking about TebowMania. Tim Tebow in the minors, definitely putting out some big things, but he kind of gave us a laugher again. We'll talk about Tim Tebow coming up next here at the GSMC Sports Podcast.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Matt Harvey returning for the Mets last night. It's his first start since May 30th. He's really battled injuries since he kind of burst on the scene a few years back.
Right.
But he pitched really, really well yesterday. He gave up 2 runs in 6 2/3 innings. I guess he's now the Dark Knight of like Queens.
He's always had that nickname because Harvey Dent. So he's had that.
Yeah,
he also
exactly.
had like Thor. They always tried to give him like nicknames or whatever. I don't know what Bartolo Colon's was when he was there, but yeah, like
El Gordo.
I love him so much. He's my favorite pitcher, dude. Like
When he hit a home run last year, I loved it.
Oh my god, it was the best.
That was literally the best.
I like it when he doesn't even hit a home run when he like swings really, really, really hard and his like helmet comes off and he's just looking
when
like
he's trying to run.
He looks like you and I decided to go to the major leagues one day. It's just like, okay, here's a bat, have fun. Like,
he literally looks like he should be in the movie Major League.
Yes.
Like, he looks like he'd be a star.
He looks like some
El
kid.
Gordo
Bartolo
Colon.
He looks like the adult version of the kids from Bad News Bears. Like, they grew up or whatever, they somehow got into the major leagues. It's just like, oh, no. And not the good player from Bad News Bears, like some of the other bad ones.
Yeah, definitely that'd be kind of pretty interesting. But he actually got the win 2 days ago against the Mets because he pitches for the Braves now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's still doing fine,
good,
yeah.
Anyways, for the Mets, good for Harvey. Hopefully he can stay healthy. They're already battling some pitching concerns. You have Seth Lugo possibly done for the year. And then you have Noah Syndergaard, as you mentioned, Thor. He has a blister on his throwing hand from opening day. He had to leave early. So I picked the Mets to actually win the NL East on the baseball show Jeremiah Naidu, and I picked Syndergaard as my Cy Young. So hopefully they can stay healthy, but last year wasn't the case, and this year already not the case. Hopefully Harvey can, though. So let's talk more about the Mets. Talk about their minor league team.
Yes.
And that is Tim Tebow. Of course, you will know he is in the Single A, the Class A Columbia Fireflies. Yesterday was their opening day, and Timmy T, in his first at-bat, blasts a 2-run homer to left center field, Anthony. Remember he did this in his first at-bat of the... what was it? The Arizona Fall League as well, right?
Yep.
His first pitch he saw blast a home run. His first at-bat hits a home run. Is it just a coincidence, or can he only hit his first at-bat? Because he was 1 of 5 yesterday with 3 strikeouts.
Yeah.
So he didn't do great.
No.
And he hit it off of Dominic Mazza, who's obviously a really scary number here, but the number 666 overall pick in the 2015 draft.
Yeah, man. Here's the thing, man. I don't know
Timmy T, man.
I don't know if Tim Tebow's good. Like, he's not good enough to make the majors. But, like, I don't know if he's actually good with this whole baseball thing. But, God, man, is he good at this moment. Like, he is, like he is, and, like, the 666 thing is just like, oh, my God, man. Like,
with him being, like, all, like, faith and, you know,
and you can make the joke of just like, okay, what happened with the other times? Like, well, sometimes the devil wins. Like, but, like, he has a flair for these things, man. Like, the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life was I was at the Kings game when he played Denver against Pittsburgh in the playoffs. And a basketball arena, which is fully invested in the team that's playing right in front of them, they showed that on the screen or whatever in the middle, and people lost their minds. Like, people were so excited and so hyped about the fact that Tim Tebow basically had that slant route that won the playoff game for him, because in certain moments, dude is fantastic. Now, it's basically like, some guy that's just like really good for like spurts, like, but as far as like, can he keep it up for the whole time? No. But for like those short little bursts and that one moment, like the home run in his first in the Arizona Fall League, first at bat, in Single A. Like, whenever he finally gets promoted to Double A, which he will be at some point, because at the very least you want the Double A team to make some money. When that happens, he'll probably hit a home run in his first game there. Like, now, do you want that in game 2, 3, 4, 5? He's not here for that. But for the first game, first at bat, he's got you. And as far as like just Hollywood moments, dude is fantastic at that.
Exactly. Like, he kind of just like lives for the moment. Like, he hit 148 in spring, right? But his first at bat in the Fall League, he hits a home run. His first at bat here in Single A, he hits a home run. Like, and the rest of the time, it's like, 3 strikeouts, 0 for 4 the rest of the time. It's like, he kind of just like lives for that moment, and it's crazy how he does it. But I don't know, it's like something like that. He just has it. I mean, he's not a baseball player. He hasn't played in 10 years, so what he's doing is kind of remarkable to me, even just to do that. But he kind of just has it, where it's, some people have it where they just kind of live for that moment, and when they're needed most, they just kind of perform. That's what Tebow did, and that's fantastic. But as you said, I don't think it will be sticking around anytime soon.
Well, here's the thing, like, he plays for the Mets, right? Or at least their minor league organization.
Their Single A team, yes.
Right. The Mets have never been opposed to making headlines or doing stuff strictly for headline purposes. And if you are wrong and they aren't making the postseason and it's September and they have all these call-ups,
would you just put them on?
100%.
Sell tickets.
One game. I'm not saying he needs to be in the lineup for like a week. No. Just like one game. Just basically make it some like Make-A-Wish Foundation only for him. Like just basically do something where it's just like, yeah, you get to play in a game. Now he may go 0 for 4 and strike out in 12 total pitches seen, but I still like you tell me right now if all of a sudden you lived in the Queens area and it was like,
you'd be
I would 100% go, dude. I would 100% go because they're going to do it in New York. They're not going to do it if the Mets are playing like Washington in Washington. Like they're going to do it in New York. So if you were anywhere in the New York area, anywhere in those 5 boroughs, like you would 100% go and see Tim Tebow. Like you might go just to see him strike out 5 times, but I would still go, man, because it would be just so entertaining. And you get the purists that are just like, no, well, you're taking someone's spot who tried to make it. Okay, cool, great, fantastic.
For one game at the end of the season,
yeah,
when nobody cares, I would do it too. You'd sell tickets, but everyone would give you a really, really bad rep.
That's fine. The Mets already have that. It's the Mets.
But
it's
I don't
not
know
like the
if you
Yankees
would do that because of that reason. But I would definitely do it too.
The Marlins did it a few years back. They had a guy, I can't remember what his name is right now, but his story was basically he made it to the majors. Like he actually made it legitimately to the majors years ago, but got hit in his first at bat. So like he never actually got to try and get a hit or whatever. Like it was a situation where he wasn't the same guy, but he at least at one time did. So the Marlins were like, all right, we're going to bring you up, even though it's probably not right that we're doing this. We're going to bring you up to give you your like actual at bat. And he didn't do anything. He struck out or whatever. But people gave the Marlins a lot of crap for that too because it was like, well, you're taking away a spot. So they probably would do that with the Mets. But at the same time, I'd be like, bleep you, look at all this money that's coming in.
Definitely, it'd be fun. It'd be interesting to look at. I don't think they'd really go that far, but I would do it. I would definitely entertain it.
100%. The Mets, like one of the few organizations I think would actually do it. Like if he was playing for the Cardinals, no chance in hell. If he did it for the Yankees, no chance in hell. Like, but the Mets, I think,
just a terrible team. I can see the Padres, like the Diamondbacks are pretty bad. The Braves are bad right now. The Twins just swept the Royals, but they had a really, really bad season last year. So.
Right.
I mean, it's possible, but TebowMania already starting in the minor leagues. Home run is first at bat. Congratulations, Timmy Tebow. But anyways, real quick before we end the show, we'll give an update on the Masters. Mm-hmm. So Charlie Hoffman through 3 holes is 1 under, so he stretches his lead to 8 under par. William McGirt is also 1 under through 13. The big mover so far, Sergio Garcia, 3 under through 3, so he is 4 shots back now at 4 under par. This is the end of our show for today. My name is Ben.
And I'm Anthony.
We are signing off here at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Have a good day, have a good weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.